Anur, welcome. And we'll have a conversation today around the concept of schooling, education, and learning processes. I would like to give your inputs on your experiences, which you also, in a way, tried to teach your daughter something different things. So, if you can give an insight over that, then I can.
Right. If you don't mind, I would like to come up with a backstory. So I was a very happy-go-lucky child, very happy, lot of friends, doing well in school, coming first in the first third of my section, not the class, but always struggling. Like I was always having an internal fight of when to go to play, when will the studies get over, and just like a typical kid is kind of itching. Except that my environment in which I was growing up was very liberal. So if I wanted to go to play, there was nobody really to hard stop me. I would, of course, get a kind of annoyance from my liberal father, but he would never, he never had the heart to stop me when I really want to go out to play and, do my thing. I was always torn between having freedom and between having to study and, being on the grind. Come 11th standard, this kind of tearing up became even more intense because then I discovered the passion of Hindustani classical music. I discovered the passion of acting, and at the exact same time, these when this I was getting pulled into these two beautiful realms. I was actually being pulled into by two or 10 horses into preparing for JE and preparing for 12th standard. And I was like, literally, I can imagine like some two horses pulling me this side. There was a torture technique in which you would pull horse. So I was
It
literally
was a
torn
debate
apart.
between career and passion.
Correct. And the passion was raging. I mean, it was like when I used to hear those particular classical music songs, I used to feel like I am transcended into a different realm. So I'll also give you the name of the particular classical music rendition. It is Rag Kukub Bilawal by Pandit Mallikarjun Mansur. After almost, this is like when I was 17 years old and I'm 44. And I've suddenly discovered Pandit Mallikarjun Mansur after 27 long years. And it still has the same effect. So I can imagine as a growing up teenager with so many hormones raging, if there's a fundamental, profound kind of impact of some art form on you, how much deeply they would be moved because they are just used to, a teenager is just used to studying, playing this and that. They are not used to getting deep into something. So Pandit Mansur had that impact on me. Then I started learning classical music, which I realized was very non-spiritual. For me, classical music was very spiritual. The actual act of learning classical music was all about Guru ka puja karo,
Ah,
practice karo. It was very mechanical. So
exactly.
it also was a reality check for me that the spiritual realm that I am actually imagining probably does not exist. And then on the same side, this pull. So and then also at the same time, I realized why does studies have to be so difficult?
Hmm.
I mean, actually, as a kid, I am very curious of how these chemicals that we have in the lab, how did they come about? Can't somebody just tell me कि ऐसा ऐसा हुआ वैसा वैसा हुआ? Why do I need to read about? I used to read so many years we have drawn the digestive system. I said I want to see it. I mean, it's right inside me, right? Is there no way that I can just at least if not me, I can see some video of a patient
Right.
which is being cut apart. I want to see the heart beating. Why do I have to draw it like when like a balloon which lovers give to each other? Why does
That's
it have to
actually
be
not the heart
fake?
also. Hardship is not
That's
that
not
way.
the heart. Exactly, exactly. So I wanted to see it for real. I also always try to imagine, there's a intestine, there's a windpipe passing through me. There are lungs and there are globules inside. So there's a very interesting thing inside me right now and right inside you right now. But all I'm getting to see is a dead 2D diagram and I'm supposed to memorize it. So
Exactly.
I was very clear that there is a very, very juicy element of learning that is being stripped away and it is being replaced by a kind of a mechanical. So, I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, just that I'm telling you that I felt it to the heart. There's tomes written about why, I mean, education is actually making it into a machine, into a factory made product. This everybody knows. But at that particular time, I actually felt it like it was affecting my life profoundly. Then slowly, when I went to BSc chemistry, the kind of a split between heart and brain became even bigger because my brain was telling me to study for exams which were very dumb. Actually, at least
Yeah.
in CBSE, there were at least some level of intelligence. When I went to college in Ruya College, the teachers did not allow for any kind of play, any room for here and there. I started thinking like whatever they're teaching, is there a way that I can find out the backstory of this? I actually started doing some reading. At that time, the internet was already established,
Right.
so I could find some small glimmer of hope. Like, how did they find out this particular molecular equation? How did they arrive at this? I realized that whatever they are teaching actually is a very interesting and fascinating story. And that kind of hypothesis has stayed with me even till now. that teaching of science should be replaced with storytelling of science. Teaching, I think, is a self-contradictory statement. You cannot teach unless the other person wants to learn,
Can you
right?
elaborate more into that?
Yeah. So teaching is like it's like, okay, so it's like digesting the food for you. I cannot digest your food by eating, right? If I eat, I chew, and I give it to you, and I put it in your stomach, what will happen? It will be shit, literally, right? So that's what is happening. Whatever we are doing, whatever the education system is shit, because everybody has digested this formula, that formula, that formula. It's a completely digested product. They have chewed on it. They have, made it rigorous. They have done published papers. They have got, the counter view, this, that, and it's a digested product that you get to see. Now, what is a digested product? It is feces. That's what you are given. That's why you eat it and you vomit it out.
Yeah.
So people are actually, the process of science is very fascinating. Even if you are not going to be a scientist yourself, you can definitely learn a lot from the storytelling process. From You can actually be given some small problems to chew on yourself. So the human mind wants to be active. It does not want to be like a printing paper on which you print something, give it out into the exam, and then throw it. So right now we are like a printer. I mean, we are like a paper. We are going through a printer. कुछ तो छाप दिया, it goes into the exam verifies, and then you forget about it. Education has profoundly impacted me, and because of that I still look for ways of finding out if my original vision of historification or storyfication of science can be brought about. More than that, I feel I have a because of staying true to myself, that I feel that human being is a born learner, that there are some instincts in every human being that are guiding them towards learning in a child also. I don't take children lightly. When they say let's play a game, I don't. Yeah. So sorry, I'll just cut that short. So what I wanted to say was, education has deeply impacted me. I have stayed the course in thinking passionately about what education is. I still read books. Like right now, I have a book called Why We Die by Venkat Ramakrishnan, it's about immortality research. I try to pick up popular science books. I love them. There's a book called Siddharth Mukherjee's The Song of the Cell. It's an excellent book which has a lot of stories of science. So I keep, the journey that started from when I was 17 years old, that is still there in me. That is what I tap into when I teach my child. So yeah, sorry, it went a bit longer than expected.
One thing that you pointed was storification of learning. I mean, the way teachers teaches in a school is quite, bookish, flat. But my experience personally was till class 10, I never liked history. I hated that subject the most. Thanks to the exams, that it was always about memorizing dates, memorizing numbers. Peshwa 1, Peshwa 2, Peshwa 3. We don't know what to do with them. Same was with
Correct.
the Battle of Plassey 1, 2, 3. I mean, it was all about dates and numbers and numbers. So it was never history.
Correct.
The principal of my school used to take one class. And when he walked into the classroom, he never carried a textbook. He used to come, pick up any one book, just check the name of the chapter and start teaching without looking at the book. He never looked at the book, but he taught history. And that fascinated me. Post class 10, I started reading a lot. And now I am very fond of history. So till class 9, it was all about the way it was taught and the examinations. How do you storify mathematics? How do we do storification of sciences? If you can highlight those points, it will be helpful.
See, this has always been on my mind. That how can you storify something which is all dry and drab like numbers? First of all, if you dig deep, I will highly recommend everybody watching this to find out this documentary called Fermat's Last Theorem. So, I mean, that is a documentary, but to me, it felt like a feature film. I mean, it had all the ups and downs and the dramas that you could expect. So, Fermat's Last Theorem is about how a 300-year-old, 50-year-old problem got solved, and how a naughty little professor, or naughty little mathematician called Pierre de Fermat just made a hypothesis and left it to the world. So, it's like a puzzle. Now, you go and solve it. Nobody knows whether it can be solved, not solved. In the meantime, Kurt Gödel comes and says that there are some statements in mathematics which are neither true nor false. So now everybody is in a confusion. Then this stream of dominoes happens, and this child called Professor Andrew Weil starts thinking about this problem at the age of 9 and holds on to it till the age of 32 when he's doing his PhD. So I mean, for me, that thing about holding on to something for decades,
Yes.
actually, find it parallel in me. Like when I was a child, I was dissatisfied with education. As of today, that pain has not left me. When I see children waking up at 7 o'clock, catching the school bus, sitting, in a very factory or robotic way. Teacher is robotic. I just feel the pain. It is, imagine a child with so much energy to do things, to be creative, to explore the world, is sitting like this. If
For
you
6 hours.
yawn, teacher will scold you for yawning. I mean, yawning is so normal. You're boring them. They can't even yawn. And so for me, that there was one imagination of me that one fine day when the vision of education will be true and pure, these classrooms will be looked as Nazi concentration camps, like we
It
look
is,
at
it is.
Nazi concentration camps.
They are actually.
So so for the mind, they are concentration camps. They're just torturing the mind, no end.
Right, coming to the
Yeah.
same
So
question
coming
now.
back, sorry.
Yeah, storification of mathematics and
Yeah,
science.
so storyfication of mathematics is full of stories, full of interesting puzzles. So I'll just tell you a very small puzzle I had read in a small mathematics book. Like suppose you have a chessboard and you take away the two corners of it, right? So this is something that anybody can relate. And now you have a chess guy, you will make a domino out of a black piece and a white piece. Now, will you be able to tessellate, or will you be able to fully fill the chessboard with these dominoes?
Mhm.
If you see, it feels like a vague answer. How do I find the answer? This,
Yeah.
that. But the logical answer is just beautiful. If you take away two corners of a chess piece, they are both of the same color, right? But a domino is actually one black and one white. So now you have two colors which are less than the other two colors. So if there are two black, so either you'll have two blacks less or two whites
Makes
less.
sense.
But if you try to fill it with a domino, it has to be equal. That means the answer is no. So even when you come to this logic and this conclusion, I got goosebumps. It's so simple. So it is, for me, mathematics is like uh, giving a challenge to the brain of solving a complex problem with some with some quick clever insight. So when you get a hang of that, it is like finding out a murder mystery. So tell me, is a murder mystery kind of interesting to solve or not?
Definitely.
So idea is so for me, one of the ideas that I had thought of is children can come up with their own hypotheses at a certain level of maturity with mathematics, and then they have a courtroom discussion. So I think I would say a huge onus on storification of this thing will lie on people who can make movies out of this. But the content is there. I can tell you the content is definitely. I mean, if you just have to go and dig into the content, you will find lots and lots and lots of dramatic episodes in the history of mathematics also. So some of the ideas by which I think you can engage your own kids if you're a homeschooling parent, some of the ideas I feel is, see, children have immense ability to fantasize, like because they're just popped out into the world, they have not seen the world. Um, you you just think logically, like there's a brain that's going to go out into the new world. I mean, into the real world, but that person has not seen it. That particular person, let's not call it a child or the thing, it's a human brain.
Yeah.
That human brain will be more than receptive. It will try to gather the pictures, and if there are no pictures, it will take the limited information and try to paint a bigger picture.
Right.
So children are extremely powerful fantasy makers. Imagination, their imagination, I would say, is more powerful than the reality that they see, which is in fact actually
They have no
true. But
limits. They are
uh,
not limited.
no limits, and that to them it's more real. What I'm trying to say is, whatever they imagine, they actually start living it. For us, imagination is okay. It's a flight of fantasy. अभी तो जाके train पकड़ के बस पकड़ के अपने को office जाना है. So we are very much rooted in the real. We won't believe somebody says, "Hey, there's a flying monster." We won't articulate it, whatever. Or there's a flying saucer, or Elon Musk is sending Starlink satellite. Even something as realistic as that. बोले, ठीक है, बस पकड़ के बाद में देखेंगे. If you tell a child going to be a flying fairy or something, a fairy is a very cliched example. Or if there is a spaceship going to come, after some time, if you tell this to 2 or 3 times, you'll actually believe that a spaceship is going to come, and they'll be full of excitement. Oh,
Yeah.
spaceship is going to come. So what I'm saying is, the one of the things that you can tap into for grooming your child is their ability to fantasize, is their ability to make fantasies and imagination. Let me come to that again later of a practical example of how we can do that. Second is, second is, I would say, their ability to take challenges.
Yeah.
So I think this is true of anybody. If I tell you, Vivek, I will teach you the keyboard, and it's very easy, you will think, first of all, this guy is faking, because I know keyboard playing is very difficult. Second of all, if it is easy, why should I do it?
Right.
I mean, I want a challenge. I mean, I want to prove that Vivek is a good learner or a good pianist. Why would I do something which is easy, right? So the moment you throw them a challenge, they are up to it. Even if it is a boring task, they are up to it. If you want to say write A perfectly well 10 times, and if you do it perfectly well 10 times in 3 minutes, then that'll be awesome. Don't say I'll give you a chocolate. That's patronizing.
Yeah.
No, that's if somebody is trying to do a challenge from heart, and if you offer them a material reward, they feel belittled. I will say this is awesome. If you can do that, that's awesome. So you really appreciate them for, and not just patronizing कि chocolate ले ले,
हाँ.
ये ले ले. So they also know it's cheap, but they'll take it still क्योंकि कुछ नहीं मिलने से तो एक chocolate मिलना ही better है.
The first point is fantasizing may help enable fantasies. The second would be challenges, and third would be
Challenges, correct.
you
Third
mentioned
would be immersion as in अगर आप उसको पेंट मत करो उसके ऊपर ब्यूटी, उसको डुबा दो, इम्ब्यू इट. अगर आपको मैथमेटिक्स उसको समझाना है तो सबसे पहले मैथमेटिक्स के बारे में आप खुद इंस्पायर हो पहले कि एंड्रू वाइल्स ने क्या किया, ग्रेगरी पेरेलमैन ने क्या किया, फर्मा ने क्या किया, गॉस ने क्या किया. बड़े तेज तर्रार लोग थे ये, बट दे वर आई मीन एब्सोल्युटली ब्रिलियंट प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर्स. आई मीन आपको समझ में सब कुछ नहीं आएगा, बट आपको वेगली भी समझ में आ गया तब भी आप सलाम ठोकोगे. So first to inspire yourself with the love of mathematics, which is not very hard. If you start reading about these gentlemen, you will get inspired. वो inspiration अपने आप उस पे जाएगा. I think a social context, teamwork, slightly elder children. So this is something that I kind of borrow from Professor Seymour Papert, who was a constructionist. Who was Joe Piaget's, one of the foremost disciples who created Scratch. So, what he says is that classroom should be mixed, like Montessori people also say. Like थोड़ा बड़ा बच्चा है, थोड़ा छोटा बच्चा है. So the elder kids, when they teach, they convey some information to the younger ones. It can be does not come down with the force of authority.
yes.
That person is not irrefutable, so they can play around with it. They can actually question. When somebody like me tells them, even if I'm friendly, they know this guy is never going to make a mistake. So the ability to
they don't want an expert.
So this guy, so when Anur is going to say, suppose even if I'm their friend, even if they call me A, but they know I'm always going to be correct. So better not question what he's saying. Right? So the ability to question is very important so that they cross question and figure out for themselves that whether what is right or wrong. When a slightly younger kid tells them, that kid may actually make some mistakes and they may point out those mistakes.
Right.
And that's very important. That's what gives them self-esteem. So it's all, I think it's a lot about self-esteem as well. So the school system just, takes out the pulp out of you. There's no self-esteem remaining from a good school going child. Usko wo bilkul uska strip them naked of any sense of self-esteem. I mean, just like in a Nazi concentration camp, before they kill them, they strip them. यहाँ पे before they kill their imagination, they strip them of all their sense of self-esteem. अगर मैं खिड़की के बाहर देख रहा हूँ तो उसमें क्या गलत है? बैठो, क्या कर रहे हो? Why are you smiling? Why are you talking? अरे मुंह दिया talk करने.
Because in school you don't go to make friends. You're not allowed to you're not supposed to talk to anyone in the school. You just have to look at the teacher.
Correct.
Pay attention,
Correct.
pay attention, pay attention. If you
Correct.
look left and right, the teacher will, ask you to why are you looking here, why are you looking there, why are you laughing, why are you doing that. There are so many why.
Correct.
In school, they don't want you to make friends because the moment you make friends, you might form the thought of making a union, and the union can rebel, a group can rebel. Solo can. The whole idea comes in that you should be solo. You have to compete. These are all your competitors. They are not your friends. They are competitors.
Correct. Competitors. Yes. True.
So you start looking at the whole world as a competition, and there are many layers to it. The whole process of psychological, how they tune your mind to think in a particular way for 10 years.
Correct.
The whole idea.
Correct. I feel co-opting is possible. People are probably, we've not had conversations with people who are running schools, people or parents also, that, there's a better world is possible in which your kid need not suffer and they still may become very good thinkers, healthy people, not taking any baggage into adulthood. So I think a conversation can change a lot of things. For me, conversation.
One thing what school does, I've been noticing is they don't give you time to think.
True.
The moment you enter the classroom, the teacher enters and you are bombarded with something or the other. Information is overloaded. No time to think. Like I was just having a conversation with my daughter one day and I was telling a story of Newton. And what was Newton doing under the tree? He asked me. Getting bored. Only when he was getting bored, they either thought that, okay, fine, this is the apple is falling and there can be something. I mean, there's a lot of things from the gravity part, a lot of thinking. But he was getting bored on the tree. If you're sitting there, same with Walt Disney. He was getting bored when he drew the first sketch of Mickey Mouse. So getting bored is also important in a way. Most of the time, schools
True.
don't allow you to get bored. They are constantly, first lecture, second lecture, third lecture, recess, again lecture, and then go home. And then homework.
Correct.
Now we have kids going to uh, preschool and tuition. I'm shocked with that. Preschool and tuitions. Imagine that. Junior KG tuition.
Oh my God.
We don't know where we are heading.
True. I agree. So, I mean, if I may add one more thing, so how can a typical classroom look like, or how can a typical learning environment look like? It's like a lot of immersion, lot of posters keep changing about great scientists, their work, inspiration. Then a lot of discussions, and a bunch of students just discussing. Just discussing, or just if they want to sleep, they sleep. If they want to discuss, they discuss. If they want to make blocks, they block. If they make blocks, if they want to program, we can just take time from them. Hey guys, you know what? I have this interesting program called Scratch. You want to come for learning this? They'll say no, I'm not in the mood. Okay, fine, no problem. And then you keep doing it. You keep doing it, and then you show them how I can press a key, and then a rocket keeps going forward, and then automatically asking, how did you do that? No, I asked you for the same thing. It's okay, come, I'll show you. So and many other things. I mean, just starts from a very small idea of Scratch programming, but there can be many other things. So there are nature walks. You can just take them out to a
Yes.
walk, pick up each flower and try to dissect it. Take a microscope, show them under the microscope. If they ask what is this microscope, like, you can go back to the history of the microscope. So
Right.
the chain reaction will never end, basically.